Hey everybody, welcome to Industry Night with me, Nycci Nellis, the show that takes you on the deep dives of the happenings in the hospitality industry. I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're old here, welcome back. A little bit of background on who I am and what I do. I've been covering the DC food, wine, and hospitality scene for the last 20 plus years. It all started with the list, areyouonit.com, the online e-zine that tells you absolutely everything happening in the DC metro area. Restaurant openings, check. Coming soon, check, check. Every food and wine event, check, check, check. There's no gossip in there, but there is every promotion happening in the DC metro area as well. That's all in the buzz column, so check, 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 check. Of course, you follow me at NYCCI, NELLIS on all the platforms, especially Instagram. If you're paying attention, I've been doing a new segment called Nycci Knows News. It's getting lots of play, which I love. I'm also doing a ton of travel. That is all featured in there as well. Don't forget the Insta stories, because I really feature a lot of the food that I'm eating in there too. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on X still, Threads a bit. And this show, Industry Night, which you can find on all your podcast platforms, is also available on YouTube. Again, at Nycci Nellis, everywhere. Okay, so you can see I'm in a new place. Just a shout out to my last show that I did yesterday. It was an online show, but it was with Alice Waters, which was a real career highlight. So I was very excited to be able to do that. So do check that show out. And it was also great with my last two shows being at Barrel Oak Vineyards and Brewery. We had some great guests, including Scott Druneau and Danny Lee and Greg Engert and Jared Slip. So please check all those shows out. Okay, so but where am I? Because it's so pretty. I am back with the Peter Chang family at their latest restaurant. It's Ni Hao in Arlington. It's at the new Amazon headquarters over in National Landing, also known as Crystal City, although they're really pushing the National Landing. Here's the thing. The vibe is really, really cool. It's got this light, breezy feel. It has this huge, beautiful bar and window up front. And I just love the feel of the restaurant. And Lydia Chang designed it. And I can't wait to catch up with her because she's back with me. You may remember that we were at Chang Chang in the city for quite some time. And she joined me. And we talked about all the things. But also on today's show is my good friend and recent James Beard Award winner and RAMMY winner, because the girl is having a year like nobody else. Masako Morishita is here too. So it's going to be such a great show. So I'm going to get right into it. But before I bring on Lydia, who is sitting right next to me, I just want to hit some of the places I've been to because I have been out and about. So I did stop in to see what Ryan Moore was doing at Sababa because it had been a minute since I've been there. And I have to be honest with you, all his dips and salads and breads are really delicious. And if you're up in the uptown area, it's such a great place to stop in for dinner. I did also go to Maidan, so I was sort of staying in that kind of vibe of food. And I hadn't been there in a minute either. The place was packed. Rose Carvet knows what she's doing. We did the tasting menu, and I'll tell you why. First of all, it's a deal price-wise. Second of all, I find the menu at Maidan incredibly overwhelming. I don't know what to do. So this just lays it out for you. It all comes to the table. I think you just pick one or two mains, and all the dips, all the spreads, all the breads, all the salads, all the sides just come, and it's a feast, and it's worth every penny. I checked out what Matt Adler was doing at Cucina Marini because that's his new spot, and it's delicious. He's doing a pasta with lemon and mussels, which neither really speak to me on the usual, but it is so good and so refreshing. So definitely check it out. And you should check out his brunch because he is doing cornettos, and they are stuffed with either pistachio cream or Nutella cream, and they're delicious. Okay. I did go to the brand new River Cafe. It is super swanky, very sexy. I love the style. I'm really impressed with the appetizers that they're doing. Lots of skewers, some dips, some salads. I think they're looking for it to be a more exciting vibe, and I think that's coming. It had a very cool crowd there, and the bar is beautiful. I did go to Bar Del Monte, which is Oliver Patson, son of Peter Patson of Two Amy's fame's new place in Mount Pleasant. It is a neighborhood gem, great pizzas, of course, but also really lovely salads and little snacks. And if I lived in Mount Pleasant, I would be there all the time. Let's see if I'm missing anything. Oh, yes. Lastly, I went to Boston because I have so much time on my hands. I went up to Boston to eat and to also see my son Eli. And we also had tickets to see Green Day at Fenway Park. And if you don't know, I actually worked at Fenway Park. I was the candy girl for a semester when I was in school there. So they did not give me like a grand welcome back, Nycci, which I think they should have done. But we'll deal with that on another day. Green Day rocked it like nobody's business. But we went to some really interesting restaurants while we were there. This one restaurant is called Lear House, and it is a kosher restaurant. The concept was created by a rabbi, but it is not Jewish food for Jewish food that you would think of. We didn't even know it was a kosher restaurant, but it's also a community building space. So they do classes, they do conversations. They're really trying to bring everybody to the table to talk about what's important, and they do it around food. So I really just loved what they were doing there. We also went to a place called Johnny Cakes, which I'm just telling you about on Newberry Street because it looks like it does cupcakes. Oh no, it's Johnny Cupcakes. It looks like it does cupcakes. They have ovens all over the place. It's a really funky place, but when they open the oven, a cupcake does not come out, your t-shirt does. So Google it, check it out, it's really fun. Okay, I'm done. So, before I get into Masako, I'm going to start with Lydia Chang. Hi, Lydia.
Hi, Nycci.
It's so nice
I want
see you.
to live your life, just hearing about all the restaurants and travels.
I think you do pretty well yourself, considering you just got back from traveling, too. So talk to me about, this is your 18th restaurant?
Yes.
Okay, so 18 restaurants. Why open up in Arlington, Virginia? Like, you guys have had Virginia restaurants before, but what was it about this neighborhood that really spoke to you?
Well, you might not know this. I used to live in this neighborhood before Amazon decided to set up their second headquarters.
Okay.
It was all very quiet. It has a great apartment. I live right above a Whole Food. Okay. I can do my fresh grocery shopping every day. Just walk down the stairs.
Right.
It's a little damaging on the wallet, but it's fresh, right?
Yes, right.
And ever since I heard about Amazon headquarters too, I was like, I don't know what kind of construction it will be, but the city kind of told me every pocket, every block is going to have potholes.
Okay.
That's when I realized I'm very used to the construction, the crane in Asia, they're all over.
Sure.
And that's when I kind of sense they are building something. It means business development opportunities. Yeah.
So that's what made you decide to open up the restaurant here.
That's when I realized it's got a great potential.
Okay.
And JBG has this great package to welcome the local restaurateurs. That's when we signed up.
Okay, but what about, why Ni Hao? Why not another Chang Chang? Why not Peter Chang? What was it that you wanted to do here to give to this community? Because one of the things that I think is so great about your family restaurant group is that when you open up a restaurant, you think of the community that you're serving. Not everybody does that.
Right.
So what was it that you wanted to do here?
So talk to you a little bit about Ni Hao. It's a restaurant concept that we started in Baltimore. The opening was scheduled for March 2020. Can you imagine?
No, I can't. No, I cannot.
I know, those stories might be gone forever, but this is the time to remind me of the restaurant I wanted to do for that concept. We did not have it full wrong because the whole world turned 180.
Shut down.
Exactly. So this is our second chance to build Ni Hao the way that we want to offer to the neighborhood. We wanted to bring Chinese to its true bold flavors, offer the classic Sichuan, the spicy, with all the fresh ingredients, but also offer a slightly smaller because we have a different lifestyle. We are watching the things we eat and we want to try more things.
Right.
So this is how we also started to have this idea about Chinese tapas. I know it sounds a little gimmicky because Chinese is not known for its tapas.
No, but I think you're hitting on a really interesting point. Like when I think of dining in a Chinese restaurant, for me, I think of lots of plates and sharing. Like,
you need to go with the village.
Right, you need to go with the village. Exactly. In fact, I'm just going to tell you this one story because the very first time, like my first car date, like a guy picked me up in the car to take me out to dinner, and he took me to a Chinese restaurant. And I was used to dining out with my family, and we would order like, rounds of appetizers and rounds of, food, lots of food.
Right.
And he was like, what are you going to have? And I was like, well, we'll get this and this and this. And he was like, I'm going to get the fried rice. I was like, oh.
You're not sharing.
I was like, that's just for you? Needless to say, we never went on another date. But I did not know that people ate that way. So to me, Chinese food is about tasting, right?
It's about the combination. You were talking about your dinner on Meidan. You have to constantly pair, go with the dip, like what really does well, right? I think that's all in the know-how of having Chinese food. The way we picture it is we know nobody has a village to bring to dinners anymore. We want to have a nice girlfriend dates. We want to have some like couples casual dinner in and out, not to be so concerned about are we going to break a bank. So the way we design our menu is everything is no more than $15.
Wow.
Yeah, there is only 3 main shareable entrees just in case you are visiting with office peers. You're in a group of 6 and plus. Everything else, you can try 2 to 3 things per person and still end up having like enough in terms of volume of the food, but also having so much flavors and options.
And so what would you say here some of the big dishes are? Like if I were coming in, you'd be like, okay, Nick, this is what you need to try.
Okay, Nycci, you have to start with the Amidst chicken noodle soup.
Okay.
That is to me, the most comforting dish. If, I feel great, I want to have this. I feel bad, I want to have this.
Okay.
If it's raining outside, if it's snowing outside, that's all I crave for.
Wow. Okay.
We're going to bring it.
Okay.
We can taste it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other things like we have a nice sampling of our dry fried dishes, just like what we offer in the other restaurants, but also smaller. We have just a lot of flavors. This is packed with like beef tendon and tripe. It's a very traditional Sichuan salad. We call it salad, but it's just cold meat.
Sure.
With a bed of red chili oil.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. So you keep saying flavors.
Yes.
What do you mean by flavors? For people who maybe, hear that and think, oh, I don't think any cuisine should apologize for spicy or not spicy. Like it is the cuisine of the land that it comes from. But what does it mean to you, and how does it get executed here?
The way that I like to say when I define certain things as flavorful, I think about it's a very balanced with a combination of flavors.
Okay.
So you are hitting the notes of some soy, some numbing, some spice, some sweetness. You can taste the fresh herbs. It needs to be a combination of all of those pleasant notes on your tongue. It can't just be, oh my god, something is tasting super sweet or super spicy. When I focus on flavors, yes, this is a concept that's known for the spicy because it's so Sichuan, but it's also very balanced, and it's like the orchestra. Nothing is taken over of another note.
Right, it all comes together to make the music. I love that. Okay, on that note, I'm going to say goodbye to you because I'm going to bring in Masako, but then I'm going to bring the 2 of you on together. We
can taste something.
We're going to taste some things, but we're also going to chat a little bit because I'm sitting here with 2 real boss babes in the industry, and you're both Asian descent, and I'd love to learn more about what that path has been like for both of you.
Absolutely.
All right, I'll see you in a bit.
I'll be back.
Great, thanks. Okay, so I am now joined by Masako Morishita. Lydia Chang's going to be coming back to join us at the end. So I met Masako before she was in a kitchen here in the States, I think. I remember when I met her, that's for sure. I met her with her then boyfriend, now husband, at an opening party for Nick Stefanelli's Officina. And he came up to me and he's like, I really want you to meet Masako. I can't, but I thought he said because she's doing X. I thought she was doing something, but maybe she was doing pop-ups. We can't remember. Anyway, but like a year or so later, you were in the kitchen at Maxwell.
Yes.
And she came on Foodie and the Beast to like talk about what she was doing at Brent Kroll's restaurant, because it wasn't really a restaurant, it was a wine bar, but he brought her in. So fast forward like 4 years later, she is now at Perry's. She has won the 2024 James Beard Foundation's Emerging Chef Award and the 2024 RAMMY's Rising Culinary Star of the Year. She has had a spectacular year. But what's really fascinating is that not only wasn't she born in this country, but she came and auditioned to be a cheerleader for the Commanders, used to be the Redskins, and she is the very first cheerleading captain who is not born in this country, which is amazing. And then she's now taking over the dining scene in DC. So, and nationally, not just here. So, hi, Masako. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
So good to have you in. So, let's figure this out.
Yes.
Let's talk about, you were born in Japan, family in the industry, but what brought you here?
So the very first time I actually came to the States was as a foreign exchange student.
Okay.
When I was in junior in high school. I actually studied abroad in Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yeah, for a little bit over a year.
Wow.
Yeah, that was actually my first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you like Wisconsin?
I actually loved it. I never had homesick.
Okay.
I didn't even want to go back home because, like I just really felt comfortable being in this like American air, I guess. Yeah, so that's like actually got me to think like someday I want to come back to do something in the States, because I really love that experience.
So what was it about the cheerleading opportunity?
Yeah, so I actually had pretty severe asthma growing up. So a year in Wisconsin, that healed me. So, and then I always wanted to try something I really can't experience in Japan. And one of the thing was cheerleading. Okay. So the high school I was learning in Wisconsin, they had a cheerleading squad.
Sure.
And then we didn't have that thing in Japan. Okay. So I'm like, okay, this is something I can't really do in Japan. Let's try.
But did you do gymnastics
Nope.
or dance?
Zero.
Oh my God, this is crazy.
Zero experience of dancing or nothing.
Okay.
But I thought that was cool. And then I tried out. Of course, I can't really dance or like anything. But I think the coach saw me really being passionate about trying. So they offered me to be a mascot first. Okay. And I said, of course, I said yes. And then I think probably like 2 months in being a mascot, they asked me if I want to actually join the squad. Okay. To cheer on the basketball games. And then that was actually a start.
Oh my God, that is so crazy. All right, so let's fast forward.
Yeah.
So you go back home, but you come back.
Yes.
You come to DC.
Yes.
Specifically because of the Commanders position? Okay, so you audition and now you're at the Commanders. So what happens next? What brings you to the food world? I know you grew up in it. What did your parents have a market and a restaurant?
Yeah, so small bar, like a neighborhood bar and a little bit of shop right next to it. And we actually live above those bar and restaurants. So it's like the entire house is kind of like our business. Right? Yeah, that's where I grew up. So I always wanted to introduce something the people really don't know about my country and my culture. I think being in the cheerleader in a squad, they kind of like saw me as, you know, like people have stereotypes towards Japanese people, like being shy and polite. I actually was able to kind of like break through. And then
Did you feel like you had to fit that stereotype initially? Like, did you feel like that was a mold that you had to maintain, or you were like, no, I'm here, I'm gonna break that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I of course, like I had that kind of like element in me, a part of it a little bit,
Right.
but like, you know, I just wanted to enjoy the moment, so I was kind of like, you know, go.
Right.
Yeah, so I wanted to just introduce like something like people are not familiar with, and I was actually on the squad for 5 years. But I knew I can't do this forever, because
Right.
this is very physically, you know,
it's hard work.
mentally hard.
Yes.
But I was always like try to look for something I can continue introduce my culture through me.
Okay.
And yeah,
So where did the food come from?
yeah, so we used to do a lot of potluck party at
Okay.
my teammate's house.
Oh.
So I used to bring like some of the food I cooked the night before.
So like what? What would you cook?
Yeah, so the first thing I brought for the potluck party was Japanese curry rice.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like a Japanese curry, not like Indian curry.
No.
So it's like very sweet, mild, a lot of like umami flavor, and then we serve it with you know, steamed like rice, sushi rice. Yeah, that's like one of the things I brought.
And did you find it hard when you first came to town to find ingredients?
Yes. So I was living in DC. DC doesn't have many like Japanese market, just only one.
Right.
Yeah, and then I don't have a car. I don't have a car still. I don't know how
Okay.
to drive still.
Okay.
So I couldn't really travel to the neighborhood, like suburbs, to get like Asian ingredients.
Right.
Yeah, so it was really hard. And also a lot of like restaurant, say it's a Japanese restaurant, but it was really hard for me to find like something I used to grow up eating. So that was struggle. And also when I was in team, I was on a very tight budget, actually.
I have no doubt. Right.
Yes.
There was a huge article, I think,
Yes.
while you were
Yes.
the captain, about like how the cheerleaders make no money.
Yeah.
Zero money.
It's a part-time job.
Yes.
So yeah, I was in a tight budget. So I tried really hard to cook with a tight budget, food I really love.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the potluck party, I brought that dish, and everybody was like, what is this? I
Right.
never seen this before. I never taste anything like this before. I don't know what this is, but this is so good. So
was that like, ooh, ding, ding, ding?
yeah, so that actually really get me thinking maybe cooking could be my next vessel to keep like, you know.
Growing up, did you think cooking would be a part of your life?
Zero.
Okay, that's why I was curious. Okay.
Zero. My family were really against me going to this cooking career
Okay.
because, you know,
They wanted
it's
you
a
to-
family business. So they struggled a lot
Right.
too. So they know how hard it is.
Sure.
So they're like, just keep your like regular office job that you know how much you're getting paid every 2 weeks. It's very stable. So they were really against it. Even like after a few years, they're still like, just
I hope they're. I assume they're okay now.
They're okay now.
Okay.
I think they now know like I'm doing okay.
Right. But you're also not. You're not doing what they're doing. How you grew up. You're not doing it in the same capacity. So I can appreciate their fears. But you're really taking what they gave you and, you know, as a foundation and growing on it. So when you decided you wanted to get into the kitchen, a professional kitchen, what did you do? Like, who did you call? How did you figure out the pop-ups? Like, how did you figure that part out?
Yeah, it was just, you know, this is one of the things I learned during my cheerleading days. My kind of like, you know, the saying I like
Right.
is fake it until you make it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So, you know, like I kind of have to like keep going even though I don't have experience. Like I can't really show my weakness or like I'm not confident. That's like one of the big thing.
Okay.
But my husband, Brad, he's been in this industry forever.
Right.
So he knows a lot of things. He's actually one of my favorite chefs.
He is a really good chef.
He's amazing.
Yes.
So of course he gave me a lot of advice. The food I make and I cook is something he also never eaten before. So he was so excited about like me cooking food for him.
Okay.
But yeah, he also gave me a lot of like wise advice. Actually being in this industry because being a chef is not just about cooking.
Okay.
Probably cooking is probably 20% and like
Right.
80% is like other
Business.
things. Like business,
Admin,
yeah,
ordering, staffing.
Exactly.
Yes.
So yeah, he's kind of like my mentor for sure.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it's great.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you wind up cooking? Like, he guides you, but where were you doing pop-ups, and how did you wind up with Brent? Like, give me a little bit of a yellow brick road.
Yeah. So I had a full-time like regular office job when I was doing pop-up for a while.
And where were you doing the pop-ups?
So I was doing like my friend's bar, restaurant, like
Okay.
any place I can find. I was doing
And
it
were you
when I
doing
had
just like a
time.
dish or a couple dishes?
It really depends. Like I did like some takeout, doing like Japanese sandwiches and dessert. Another pop-up I did like full menu
Okay.
of like a la carte that people can choose and pick.
Wow.
And also I did like tasting menu. I did like everything when I was doing pop-up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so and then I met Brent, I think it was like probably like year and a half I was doing pop-up.
Right.
Maxwell team actually reached out to me. They're like, hey, do you want to do a tasting for us? I wasn't really sure what that was.
Like,
but I'm
what were you like, I
yes.
don't know what they mean,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm like, sure. And then
Okay.
they said, okay, you can just only bring maybe like 3 dishes.
Okay.
I'm like, okay.
So did you prepare there? What did you do?
Yeah, so actually.
Because there's like no kitchen there.
No. So I did a lot of prep at home.
Okay.
But I actually ended up bringing probably 15 different dishes.
Okay.
Because I thought I had an idea, maybe this could lead to something, some like bigger chance that I was really looking for. And if that's the case, maybe this will be my first and maybe last chance.
Okay.
I had to go full out and
for you.
like show them like what I can do, what my flavor is, because like I said, the food I cook is like nobody's really doing it.
Right.
So for them to understand what I do, I had to really bring like everything.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
We went.
Yeah.
I had it.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
Thank you.
But you knew it was just a stopover, right? Like once you started executing there, did that just build up your confidence and you were like, I think I'm ready for something bigger?
Yes and no. But I actually learned a lot at Maxwell because they're a wine bar.
Right.
So I really needed to make sure the Japanese food that I cook paired well with the wine, which I cannot do. I couldn't do really straightforward Japanese comfort food. I had to do a lot of modern twists.
Okay.
Which actually kind of like made me a chef who I am in the cooking wise. Yeah. So yeah. But like you saw, like Maxwell's kitchen is very tiny. We only have 1 oven and 1 induction burner. But I just didn't want to make it as an excuse. I tried to do as much as I can.
Right.
But yeah, like I start having this little bit itch that if I can have a little bit like more equipment in the kitchen, I can do so much more. So that's kind of like I got the offer from Paris to come work. Yeah.
When you and Saeed met, so let's give people the background on Perry's if they don't know.
Yes.
Because Perry's is a 40-year-old restaurant.
Yes.
It's been around obviously for 40 years,
Yes.
but it's always served sushi.
Yes.
With other snacks, right? With other things. But it's really known for its rooftop because there was a time in DC where it was like one of 2 rooftops in town. There were no rooftops in town. So it was a huge place for rooftops. It was also a huge place because of their drag brunch, which they also started 40 years ago. So now while everybody in the city does drag brunches now, like they were supporting the drag community.
Yes.
40 years ago, and they're a huge supporter of the LGBTQIA community as well. Like, it's really been a hub for the community forever. And I mean, like, when I used to live in Adams Morgan back in the 90s, like, we went there all the time. Do you know what I mean? It was such a neighborhood restaurant.
Yes.
But it has maintained a certain level, but I don't want Saeed to be mad. You definitely went to Perry's, you know, for sushi. Like,
Yes.
you went, but you went because it was Perry's. Do you know what I mean? And you sort of got in there and changed that conversation.
Yes.
I mean, the food was always good, but now the food is insane. So how did you have that conversation with him? What was he looking for? And what did you want to do?
Yeah, so Perry's has been pretty successful restaurant. You know, it's been there, like you said, 40 years. Even before I actually came involved, they're doing good in the sales wise and everything. But yeah, like me as a Japanese, I actually didn't like their food.
Okay.
So
Because it wasn't really Japanese food.
yeah.
It was more like Japanese American
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like that's what they were doing.
Yeah, but it actually took me probably like 6 months to change the menu completely,
Okay.
because you know, like, they've been doing the same thing for a really long time,
Right.
And of course, people are really scared of change.
You mean the people who were working in the kitchen with you?
Yes.
I bet.
Kitchen, like all the front
staff.
house staff, everybody.
Yeah, because they have a lot of people who've been there a long
Yes.
time. They do have legacy employees,
Yes,
right?
Yes, and also the type of food I cook is really unique and different.
Can we? All right, let's stay on this.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what it was like, sort of changing their minds, and then I do want to get into the food, because you keep saying what I do is unique, what I do is different, but I want to explain to people why it is and what's so different about it, because I'm sure a lot of the people listening are like, I've had Japanese food, I know Japanese food, I've been doing izakaya, you know, I know the food, but it really isn't what you're doing. So I want to get more nuanced about it.
Yeah.
All right, so you get the job at Perry's. You don't like the food, and you're like, I want to make this mine.
Yeah.
So how do you ingratiate yourself is the wrong word, but like, how do you connect with the staff?
Yeah, so, you know, like, and then they actually didn't have a chef for a long time.
Right.
So I actually have to start with a lot of like small things, like fixing small things. But they're really resistant me changing the menu for a long time.
That must have been so hard.
It was very
frustrating.
hard, very, very hard. So yeah.
So what did you do?
Yeah, so one time I actually had to have a very intense, serious conversation with Saeed. That you know, I was pretty emotional too, because I was hired as a chef. If I can cook, if I can create my food, why am I there?
Right.
And I was just like begging him to give me a chance, and then he actually allowed me to put maybe like 1 or 2 dishes as a special and see how it goes.
Okay.
And then I actually did that first
So
2
what was
dishes.
was the first special?
Yeah, first special was garlic edamame dumpling.
Okay.
That was my first special I did at Perry's.
Uh-huh.
And we do have a lot of regular coming in, probably like once a week, twice a week.
Yes.
So they were so excited that they saw something new on the menu, and they tried it, and they're like, guys.
What's it called again?
It's called garlic edamame dumpling.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're delicious.
So yeah, thank you. Yeah, so they were like, guys, you have to like, you know, keep this on the menu. We're so excited, something new is here, blah blah blah. So they actually kind of like moved everybody. They had a long, like big part of like,
Okay.
you know, for me to kind of like, you know, start taking over. Yeah, that was actually a start.
Okay.
And then little by little, I start to like switching the menu, putting something new on the special and see people's like reaction. And almost like everything, we got a really great feedback. And then we got a really great write-up from Washington Post.
Yeah, Tom Seatsma.
Yes.
Yes.
So that actually really changed the game. And then now I can basically do whatever I want.
Right.
They really let me do, like respect like my creativity, and they're really excited when I try to like put something new, specials and stuff.
So
like that.
how many specials are you like? So would you say more of the menu is yours now plus specials? Tell me about the breakup.
Yes, so the kitchen entire menu is my menu now.
Okay.
Like, I actually changed every single item, and now fully it's my creation.
And would you consider yourself a team now with the kitchen?
Yes.
And because it is hard leading a crew that's not yours, right? Like not bringing in your own team,
Right.
not bringing in your own people. That's really hard
Yes.
to do in any job. So once you and Saeed had this moment, and now that you're moving forward, has the team, are they working with you?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
So all the kitchen stuff too, I actually inherited. They've been there longer than I am actually.
Yes, right.
So that's actually the one of the things I really thankful of my cheerleading career, because I had to lead 32 to 35 ladies, which is very difficult.
Yes.
So the leading the team, that's exactly the same. It's even like cheerleading or in the kitchen. It's completely different field, but being a leader, lead the team, and get along with the team, work with the team, that's exactly the same.
Okay.
So we have a really good relationship. So I don't have like a lot of turnovers in the kitchen actually, which is great. And our kitchen is 100% immigrants, including myself.
Right.
And we have 10 staff total, and 8 out of 10 is a woman, immigrant woman.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, this is amazing. I really, really love my ladies, my gents. They're amazing. And then I just like, my focus is for them to be happy, because I really believe happy people can make happy food.
I always say, and I'm not in the kitchen, but when I'm in my own kitchen, I really believe that cooking with a smile changes the food.
Yes.
And I have actually said this, and you're probably going to think I'm crazy, but I have been at restaurants and I'm like, I think the chef is angry. Like, this was not made. In fact, during the pandemic, we ordered from lots of restaurants. And I remember one night, like, we ordered from one restaurant, and I was like, he does not like cooking like this. Like, it was like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think you can tell.
Yes.
And being a leader in your kitchen is really important, because I'm sure, as you know, just as much as anybody else, like, all you need is one person in the kitchen, especially like a group of 10, a close-knit group, to sort of be like, yeah, like, I call it a cancer because it spreads. It's complaining is contagious. So keeping it really positive, keeping a really high vibe, like that's what the kitchen feels like, it's reflected in the food.
Yeah, totally. And then Perry's is open 7 days a week. So there's some nights that I'm not there.
Of course.
But I'm really comfortable and confident that my team can execute like the way I want. They understand what I'm trying to do, and they are really happy. I really care about their mental health and of course like physical health as well. So yeah, that's kind of like push me going. I want to see them smile. I really want my staff to be happy.
Right.
That kind of like pushed me to be a better chef and human, I think.
So since your staff is from a lot of different countries and you want them to execute the cuisine the way you want it, let's talk about some of these dishes that are coming on the menu. I think when people hear like garlic edamame dumplings, so like, okay, dumplings. I understand dumplings. I know garlic. I know edamame. But you have a lot of dishes on the menu that just from reading it, you're like, I don't know what that is. Like, what was the one I had it was so fun. It was like a Fritos, like it was like corn chips with, you put it like in a bag with, I'll have to look it up on my thing.
Oh yes, Frito pie.
Yes, the Frito pie.
Yes.
And then you also do the udon with the egg.
Yes.
So can we talk about those dishes and how, like, and what else people can look forward to? Because I want them to, like, I was talking with Lydia, like, she kept talking about flavors. And I was like, what do flavors mean to you? And I want the same thing from you. Like, what are your flavors? What are your textures? What are people eating when they eat your menu?
Yeah, so a lot of my dishes have a lot of different components, which is rare in Japanese cooking because Japanese cooking is like simplicity, minimalist. That's kind of like people think of Japanese cooking.
Right.
So for me, I love to think outside of the box and just have fun. That's actually my life philosophy too.
Yes.
That's really applied to my cooking. So I actually have a lot of like non-Japanese ingredients combined into Japanese flavors and the ingredients. For example, edamame dumpling. So dumpling, that's probably like one of the first thing I learned from my mom.
Sure.
So that's
I'm
like
thinking of you like folding,
yes,
right?
yes. So we actually fold it one by one every day. Entire staff like do it every single day.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but dumpling, like people think of pork, chicken, those things. I just wanted to do something a little bit different.
Right.
Edamame, which is like Japanese, one of the Japanese ingredients.
Yeah.
But I actually whip it with olive oil, lemon juice, tamari soy sauce, a lot of garlic.
Yes.
And Japanese Kewpie mayonnaise, my favorite.
Okay.
All whipped together. And that's
So
actually
Kewpie mayonnaise, for people who don't know, is a little sweeter.
yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's just it's regular mayonnaise, just has more. Does it have rice vinegar in it? Seasoned
Yeah.
rice vinegar,
Yeah,
or is
rice-
it sugar?
Rice vinegar is also in it, but contents of the egg yolk and egg whites is different compared
Okay.
to like American.
Okay.
Yeah, so we whip that all together
Uh-huh.
and we actually fold it one by one.
Uh-huh.
And then we blanch it to order and we finish it with a squeezed lemon, like a lot of Parmesan cheese on the top. It's
Okay, so again, I'm glad you brought up the Parmesan cheese. People do not think of Parmesan cheese as Japanese.
Right.
I mean, it's Italian. But is that something that you would see at home?
yes, actually, so my mom is a chef. So
Right.
there she's cooking.
Yeah.
She actually kind of like gave me inspiration to be outside of the box
Okay.
cooking because she traveled a lot when she was in college. So she knows a lot of different flavors and like ingredients. So she loved to use olive oil in her cooking.
Okay.
She loves cheese, cream, those things actually.
Because they're not classic Japanese,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
So that definitely, I definitely inherited
Okay.
from her. Yeah.
So that's so exciting that you're able to take sort of what she learned and what she was inspired by and allow that to sort of light you up.
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's talk about the udon with the egg. What is that dish? It's like everybody takes pictures of it. It's like your Instagrammable dish.
Yes.
Tell me more.
Yes, so that's udon carbonara. I actually had it one of the specials in the past.
Yes.
I was just like doing, let's do like, just fun dish. Like, I was just like having fun.
Right.
So that's the udon noodle. We actually get it from Japan. It's called Sanuki style. So
Okay.
Sanuki is a name of the region in Japan, known for making very thick and chewy noodle.
It's so good.
Yes, it has a texture, like very specific texture.
Right.
And then, so the cream is, carbonara. I love pasta.
Me too.
Yeah, I love it so much. So I wanted to do some like twist of like pasta, but using udon noodle.
Right.
And that was a carbonara, creation of carbonara.
Success.
Yeah. So one of the important like ingredients I use for the sauce is a kombu tea powder.
What is it?
Kombu tea powder. So kombu is a kelp.
Okay.
We make like a lot of broth, like Japanese broth and stuff. So there's a powdered tea made with kelp. So we pour the hot water and we drink it as a tea.
Ooh, yum.
Yeah. So it has like, it's a very savory, like flavored tea with a little bit of like saltiness. So I actually put that into mix into the sauce. Brings up a lot of umami and a little bit of like funkiness.
Ooh,
which I love.
bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love that. And now I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah,
cake.
yeah.
That sounds delicious.
So it's a little bit like funky when you taste it. And then of course we use this like specific egg called Jidori egg we get from California.
Okay.
They raise the hen the same way we do in Japan. They're vegetarian, like of course organic, free range. So their yolk is really bright, like
orange.
Yes,
really orange.
and the flavor is very like rich and thick.
Yeah, I think it really shows when you use incredible ingredients.
Yes.
I'm going to brag. Yesterday, I interviewed Alice Waters, and who's like, I was totally fangirling. I mean, I'm fangirling today too, but I just, talking about the integrity of ingredients and what it means when it's on your plate, especially organic. It's just interesting. Oh my God, we have so much food coming.
Oh.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Okay, well, they're putting that on.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's like fast forward a little bit. You were nominated for Emerging Chef for James Beard, which is, thank you, an incredible accolade.
Yes.
Were you surprised?
Very surprised.
Okay. Not just winning. Forget that you won, but just even the nomination.
Oh.
Right?
Very surprised. Like I did not expect that.
Move that, please. Thank you.
I
You
expect.
could just move it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much.
I had no expectations, so I
Right.
was very surprised. I was a little shocked, to be honest. I'm not like cooking full time for a long time.
Right.
For me to recognize in such a big organization and like honorable awards
Right.
was crazy in the best possible way.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I think it really spoke to the fact that you're doing something different. Because it's one thing to be pinpointed locally, like for the Mid-Atlantic region, under the James Beard umbrella, but the national, Emerging Chef National is really speaking to nationally, like you're competing with people all across the country, and there's a lot of people doing really amazing, amazing things. So, I mean, congratulations so much on winning that. And then the RAMMYs.
Yes.
Which is, that's what I think is interesting about the RAMMYs is that that's the locals. And that's like the local people basically being like, this is our girl. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so what is your interaction with that, and how did both of those awards sort of fuel you going forward? Because you can't sit back and relax now.
Right. Well, the greatest thing is I just love cooking. I think about it every day, like right before I actually fall asleep.
Right.
I think about it all the time, and then I don't mind it. Like I love it. So for me to be recognized with such a great awards, like made me push more. But I'm happy. I'm just happy that I get to do this every day.
Right.
And get paid, which is amazing.
Right.
And also, now with those awards, I feel like I have a little bit bigger voice in terms of cooking. So, of course, I'm keep pushing myself to create something different and tasty. And also at the same time, I'm an immigrant. And for me to actually pursue what I want to do, it was very, very hard because I don't have my family here. I didn't have my family support. For me to one step forward, that was very hard. And for me to get to where I am, I really have to go full out, 120%, every single day.
Sure.
For me to be able to do this, that means everybody can do it. Even though the woman like me, not just about cooking. If they have immigrant women, if they have any goal or dream, and if they're a little bit struggling to step forward, I did it and I was able to do it. I'm doing it so they can do it. So I'm really hoping I'm inspiring them to make their dream come true. Yeah, and then also
because you can be really a mentor.
Yes,
not just an inspiration, but also I think it is important for people to see women like you, women like Lydia, young women out there who are immigrants, who are making their way, figuring it out their own way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think as women, it's so important because, listen, we're always told to be nice. We're always told to smile. I mean, I've been mansplained 1,000 times. Do you know what I mean? But I think we're in an environment now that allows us to be like, no.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean.
And I think if you told me that 20 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, no, I can't do that. But I think we're at a good point. So here's what I'm going to do. We have all this gorgeous food in front of us. I'm going to ask Lydia to join us. I kind of want to open this up as a panel for a sec, okay? Okay, so there was no way that I was going to do a show here with Lydia and Masako and not like bring them together to sort of talk about what it's like. They're both immigrant women who have totally made their way in this country, but they're both leaders in what they do and in different ways. So I kind of want to put this to both of you. Listen, Lydia, you had your father who sort of started in the business here. So I kind of want your perspective a little bit of what it was like to be, sort of a young Asian woman sort of coming into the restaurants and being like, yeah, I'm in charge. How did that go for you?
It's funny you put it that way. I wish I have a switch just to turn off his control mindset. At the beginning, it was really just him telling me, you need to do this, you need to do that. And knowing that I am his child, I'm not obedient as he wants me to be. So there has been a lot of push and pull until there was a lot of milestones, which I proposed. Yes, like Peter Chang is all great, but if we're operating in this region, people wanted to go for different concepts. They want to chase something different. And the way I sell it to him, just like you probably do that with a lot of men too, is what about, we can still offer same thing, but you can do way more. You can offer something more home style. You can offer a different concept to be attracting a different crowd. So he is very talented. He can pull out different cuisines. And I told him that we wanted to cater. So from our conversation earlier, I try to understand the market a little bit more and understand what market we're in order to cater on the different needs.
Well, actually, I think you're bringing up something that we were talking about, which was it's not just cooking. It's also a business, right? And understanding that business model. And it sounds like both of you had to sort of I hate to use the word explain, but it is what you had to do to get what you wanted, right? Like your conversation with Saeed, like how did you, so you said it was an emotional conversation, but dealing with men, and this is not to denigrate men are great, like you're married, I'm married, you have a child, like we all deal with, and our fathers and siblings if you have them. So, but in a business setting and in the restaurant industry, which is, very patriarchal, how did you deal with that?
So, there's not many women chefs in this industry, unfortunately, yet.
Especially in the city.
Yes. So it was very, very hard because when I actually came to Paris, I wasn't really, I haven't worked any like famous restaurant or Michelin star restaurant or anything like that, and I don't have a look of the chef. I'm not man, I'm woman. So everybody's like, who are you? So that was hard. People have like stereotype of chef, which I don't really fit. So to break through, like we probably had to do everything like perfect all the time. Otherwise, they don't really respect you. They don't like admit you, But I think that like I really want to change that. Following like women doesn't have to like work extra hard to be recognized. No,
I think you bring up a really good point. I think as women, we're always trying to be perfect in a business setting, right? So that our ideas, our concepts, what we want to do, get accepted, right? Because, I think we've all seen the other gender who's been able to sort of present their ideas, and people are like, yeah, I'll throw money behind that, or I'll do whatever. I mean, when I started the list, I literally had people telling me that there was no interest in it. Like, I had a guy said to me, he's like, yeah, I don't feel like people really want to know that. And I was like, I want to know it, and I think if I want to know it, others will know it, but I could have let him talk me out of it, and I didn't, which I think is really, it's all about sort of you and your confidence, right? And so as leaders, like, you're now a leader in sort of ownership and industry and running the restaurant. Did you have to get your dad to sort of understand that you had business knowledge?
It's definitely a learning curve for both him to understand that I can bring a puzzle, a missing puzzle, a void in the world that he sees it. It's not a conflicted world in terms of me and him. We all want to do great for the family business. He is very knowledgeable and a pro in the kitchen. However, whatever is going on outside of the kitchen, I could feeling the vibe we're trying to create, what kind of experience we would like to create, how to pair it with a nice cocktail program, what can we do in terms of signage, in terms of concepts, what can we do to design this inviting, welcoming a vibe to the restaurant. So, yes, there's a lot of proving, hey, I did this. But there's also a lot of, like, for him to see in hindsight, a lot of it worked. I think that's how it kind of built up the credentials of, in certain areas, he's going to listen. In certain areas, I'm going to respect him for what he does. I feel like there's a lot probably for Masako too, is, yes, Saeed wants the best for the business. You want to provide whatever he needs for that business, but in a different approach. So it's all bridging that gap.
Agreed, and you're right. You're bringing a modern take on what your dad did, right? And you were bringing a modern take and a new and improved take, really, for Saeed. You're both dealing with older men who are like, this is my business, and I've run it like this for a really long time. So you're giving something new to them. But I kind of want to twist it a little bit and ask you both, given what you're both doing in this field, do you deal with a lot of, or any anti-Asian sentiment because it's the United States and people suck? Or do you deal with that in the kitchen, or just on a day-to-day basis? Oh, you have a mic. I'll hold this one. You can take that.
So for me, so far working as a chef, no, not really. Especially now, like, people know what we serve and what we offer in the Paris, so they know that beforehand, and then they wanted to come and try. So we don't have that, but it's more of an education, because that's something like they don't really ate before, the food we offer at Paris. So it's more of an education, how to introduce it, how to explain it, how to show it, But I'm pretty fortunate.
Okay, because I do think sometimes people have fear of the unknown, even when it comes to food, and it is what bridges the gaps.
Yeah, fear I always have. Every time I put new dishes on the menu, I'm like, do people understand this, or do people accept this flavor, texture? It's always a fear. But I just had to. Yeah, like I said, I had to fake it until make it.
And 2 awards later, she has totally made it. And what about for you, Lydia?
I would say it's about dealing with perceptions. Everyone comes to the restaurant, even like for us, been cooking Chinese. My dad has been cooking Chinese for over 50 years. And we're still constantly dealing with perceptions of you set up the expectation. Everyone's understanding on the expectation is different. When we say this is Chinese tapas, and you start to question, Chinese has tapas? Like, what is that? Is that a makeup thing? So I feel like maybe it doesn't have to be Asians, but there has been a lot of perceptions on how things are done in a certain way. I feel like there is perceptions on how Asian women behave in a different way, but this is an environment that we feel like there is room for growth, for us to share this is the way that we want it to be, and there's room to accept that. And huge congratulations to Masako proving after trying tirelessly and working so hard on your concept is you've made a stamp in the culinary world of this is what I do and people should respect you for that.
Thank you.
Agreed. All right, on that note, I would love you to tell me what we have in front of us, and then while you're dishing it up, I am going to end the show. So tell us quickly.
So we have Nycci's favorite. Every time Nycci comes to the restaurant, I have to serve you some tofu salads. We have the husband and wife salads. This is a beef tendon and tripe dish with crushed peanuts on top. We have some guangdong beef, which is known for its bold, spicy flavor. And to cool it off, we have some Amidst chicken rice noodle soup with some salt and pepper shrimp, all Chinese tapas style.
Excellent. It's so beautiful. All right, you get to dishing that up. I have to try the soup, obviously, because it's her favorite. And I want to thank you both so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for hosting me, as always. And I want to thank you for joining me on Industry Night. Just remember, everything you heard here today, you can find on the list, areyouonit.com, the online e-zine that tells you everything happening in the DC metro area. Follow me at NYCCI, NELLIS. Oh my God, that's going to overflow. Instagram, Facebook, all the things. You'll find all of it. You'll see pictures of this because I'm going to be eating it. Be safe out there and have a delicious week.
Produced by Heartcast Media.